here I'm with my awesome friend Jakub, or aka Kuba, and he is here with us in New York City. We just came from the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and we're in this house with like 11 other people, and we're all sharing fruit and we're all making videos together. So I'm asking a lot of people some tips, maybe from a different angle from mine, that might help you guys in your journeys. And my question for you would be, what do you do, if you have any tips or tricks, or what you do to deal with cravings and food addictions?
Thank you for having me on your channel.
Ah, you're welcome. You're so welcome.
I'm having
so
lots
welcome.
of fun here with the fruit crew in New York
Yeah,
City.
so glad you could join us. Like, so happy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm also from Canada. I grew up in the Toronto area. So I also deal with the winter, like you.
Yeah, the winter.
And that's like probably the roughest time in terms of cravings.
Agreed.
So what I do is it's actually weird because I don't eat much greens, but I juice a lot of greens. I'm really big on juicing.
Yeah.
And I feel like juicing greens and vegetables, especially in the winter, and things like beets, I love juicing beets, is like a real great way to like get all the things that I need, the nutrients that I need, that I don't crave much.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say that I'm pure. I've had my slip ups this past winter.
Yeah, it's all
for
good.
sure, but I have ways to like get back on track. And
so what other ways do you have to get back on track? Like, if you slip up, most people feel really guilty because they're like, I gotta stay raw, or I gotta stay vegan, and then they get all this guilt and regret because they slipped up. How do you deal with that, and what do you do to get back on the train?
See, the one thing I always do is love myself. Like, self-love is the first step to this lifestyle if you really want to feel well, because otherwise you'll beat yourself up and it's not worth it, because it's just a part of your path, and looking back one day you'll be like, oh, that was not a big deal. It was just like, oh, a thing I had to deal with to get through to the other side eventually, you know. So I've definitely had many slip-ups, but I always like, I'm so passionate about this because this is just like life for me. Just I'm a living body, so it doesn't make sense to put anything that's not living inside of me. So I'll always get back on track, but if I do slip up, I'll just be gentle with myself, and I'll feel it. Like, maybe in the evening before bed I'll be like, oh, I ate so heavy, I ate some processed vegan food with friends just to be social, and I'll be like, and I can feel that I don't feel good in my body, but I'll be like, okay, I'm just gonna observe it, and I just like lie in shavasana in bed or on the floor, and just pay attention and hear my digestion, and just try to observe it, and just be like accepting that this is what I did. I can't go back now. I'm gonna get back on track the next day. Just keep going.
Yeah.
So I just like to observe it and not be too upset with myself.
Yeah, a non-judgmental place for yourself, and make a space of non-judgment and accepting. I love that. That's so cool. What do you do when there's like no fruit of it? Like, because like you said, we're both from Canada, and the fruit is hard, and that's why we tend to kind of gravitate towards more greens or juices. Like, what?
For me, I gravitate towards fat. So like in the winter, I'll eat a lot of fat, like a lot of avocados, and I'll make like zucchini noodles, or even just cucumbers and tomatoes as a base for my salad, and then I'll make a dressing that's really like, I guess, gourmet, where I'll put like, I'll put garlic, and I'll put spices, and I'll put some herbs, and really make it like stimulating, which is maybe not like my ideal, where I'd rather just eat like simple mono meals, but I'd rather have this like stimulating salad and satiating with like lots of avocado, and just be like satiated, than be like dealing with cravings and seeing like my family eating potatoes and like getting tempted to eat that. But if I eat the satiating salad that might be heavier in the fat, I'll at least keep it raw, and I'll feel better in my body, because when I eat the potatoes or something cooked, it just like right away my energy just like dims down, and I don't like that anymore.
That's awesome.
So I don't mind using the fats like more heavy in the winter.
And I've been feeling like that too. I know a lot of people will have reactions to having a little bit more fat. Sometimes they're like, they feel lower down, but I personally agree with you. I would prefer to eat more avocados or something, and I'd rather have that, because I find for myself the potatoes are extremely triggering. They make me want to have potatoes the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm eating way less raw, and I'm feeling those guilty emotions again. So like you, I would rather have the savory to get me through that, and then enjoy the fruit in the summer when we get it. Yeah.
Interestingly, I've had a problem with beans, like canned beans, this past winter, and I feel like beans is like somewhere like a fine line between raw and cooked. Like it feels like it's not fully cooked, like it's not dead completely, but it's not raw. And for some reason I got into beans, and I feel like it's been like a middle ground for like if I do get into the processed food with social reasons or like vegan cooked food, and I feel down, and then the next day it's easy to get back on it. Sometimes I'll just eat the beans instead, and that night will be like the beans, and then the next day I'll do like the type of salad that I was explaining where everything's fully raw, and then I'll get back on track to like simple eating. So I feel like the beans is like the middle ground to be able to get back to the raw. Sometimes in my opinion.
I think everyone should have that kind of middle ground food. If you're having issues staying raw and you need to find those foods, you can find those foods that aren't triggering, that don't make you go way down to the bottom, right? You got those foods that are like, okay, I know I can handle this and it won't make me crazy, and it won't be too bad on my digestion. You can kind of keep that in there and still stay on the path instead.
And I think all the like masters who've been doing this lifestyle for many years will do the same recommendation. They'll recommend like, even if you need to use some cooked food to slow down your detoxing, like that's okay. Just like always getting back on track.
It's about doing it for long term, instead of like, if you're gonna fail and then you just stop, then that's actual failure.
But if you think long term, you know it's not a failure.
It's just not like a failure.
You're gonna slip up.
And then you keep going. Exactly. So I had a friend who was mentioning how they were raw for like 89 days, and then they ate cooked food. So then the next day they started at day 1, and I'm like, no, you're on day 90 with one slip up.
Exactly.
Right?
I like that.
And that way you feel like you're still accomplishing and you're still getting back on the journey, but you're not completely destroying yourself and be like, I gotta start from day 1 now. And you feel so
then
defeated.
You make it to day 2 and you're defeated again, and then you're just like, next thing you know, you give up. Whereas you could just be like, okay, I had a little slip up, but I did 89 amazing days. And
and you should be proud of yourself for that. So thanks so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me.
Share with my viewers where they can find you, because you're awesome.
Thank you. So you can find me on Instagram at Jakub Misiek, so JAKUB MISIEK, and as well as YouTube, same thing, that name.
Perfect.
And Facebook is that name as well, but Instagram and YouTube.
Instagram and YouTube. Go check them out. And if you guys like this video, click like and subscribe to my channel to get notifications for more. You can click the little bell. You can find me on Facebook, Lissa's Raw Food Romance, on Instagram at Raw Food Romance, and on Snapchat, Lissa Raw Weekend. So thanks so much for doing the video with me and hanging out with us in New York City. It's been so awesome to connect and get to know you better, because so awesome. So thank you, and see you guys later.
See you.